It's been several weeks since Becky Lynch regained the Women's Intercontinental Championship from Maxine Dupree, making her a two-time champion. Obviously, the victory ended in controversy, but we saw that this past Monday on Raw, there was even more controversy than ever before as Natalia screwed, excuse me, Maxine Dupree out of the Women's Intercontinental title, giving Becky Lynch the victory. With Maxine Dupree now in the rearview mirror of the man, the question now becomes who will be next to challenge Becky for the Women's Intercontinental title. So here's the thing, right? Like you've got a large plethora, excuse me, of talent that would be more than a challenge for Becky Lynch. Obviously, you've got women like Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez. You've got Raquel Rodriguez. You've got Stephanie Vaquer, the women's world champion. You've got Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, the women's tag team champions. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Obviously, you guys also we also have Natalia. We got Maxine. We've got a pretty good variety of talent in the women's division that would be more than a challenge for Becky Lynch. However, some people believe that there really isn't anyone capable of challenging Becky for that very same championship. But in my opinion, excuse me. In my opinion, I feel like that there could be someone out there that would be more of a challenge than people least expect. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the talent at the talent on not just on Raw, but also on SmackDown and even on NXT, and even also on WWE Evolve, which airs every Wednesday on Tubi. There's a long list of talent, right? Like you've got women like Adriana Rizzo, who we hadn't seen in months. We had not seen Adriana Rizzo in months ever since the breakup of the D'Angelo family at the hands of Channing Stacks Lorenzo, turning his back turning his back on the family because of Dark State. You've got women like AJ Lee, Alba Fire, Alexa Bliss. You've got Ariana Grace, Asuka, BFAB, Bailey. I would say Bianca Belair, but Bianca Belair is still hurt. She broke her her knuckle at last year's WrestleMania in Vegas, and one could argue that Becky Lynch could be the woman Bianca Belair could be the woman to come back and dethrone Becky, which is possible. You've got Blake Monroe. Excuse me. You've got Candice LeRae, Carly Bright, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, who is the now former United States champion. Who else? Fallon Henley, the women's speed champion. You've got Julia, the current women's United States champion. You've got Ivy Nile, Io Sky. You've got Izzy Dame. You've got JC Jane, Jade Cargill, Jada Parker, who recently came back from hiatus the last few months. Um, Jordan Grace, Kyrie Sane, Carmen Petrovich, Kalani Jordan, the former TNA Knockouts champion, Kendall Gray, the current Evolve Women's champion, which would be interesting. Excuse me. Kiana James, Lainey Reed, Lash Legend, Liv Morgan, Lola Vice, Lyra Valkyria, obviously Maxine I mentioned, Michin. Um, I would say Naomi, but she's still on maternity leave, and probably will remain on maternity leave for another 7 months, I presume. Who knows? We'll see. Natalia, Nia Jax, Nikki Bella, Nikki Cross. God damn, fucking throat. Sorry guys, my throat's just been clogged up for a minute. That's why I've got this bit of a cough drop there. Nikita Lyons. I would say Piper Niven, but she's injured, and there's been a lot of rumors that she could be retiring a lot sooner than people least expect. Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Sol Ruka, which would be interesting. Stephanie Vaquer. I would say Tamina, but we hadn't seen Tamina in years, so I don't know. No one really knows where Tamina is or whatnot. No one knows what the future holds for her. Some have said that she's already retired, but who knows? Tatum Paxley, Thea Hale, Tiffany Stratton, which would be interesting. Tyra May Steele from Evolve, Wendy Chu, Ren Sinclair, Zarya, Zelina Vega, and I would say Zoe Stark. Excuse me, but she is still out with a knee injury, and she is not scheduled to come back for another few months, from what I've been hearing. There's also other, there's so many other talent, like who else? Who else can I name? Callie Armstrong, PJ Vasa, both from WWE Evolve. You've got a long plethora of women that would be more than a challenge for the man for that very same title. But the question is, who will step up? Who could be the woman to take that challenge? If it came down to four, just overall, if it came down to four, I would probably say Roxanne Perez, Nikki Bella, Lyra Valkyria, and AJ Lee. Excuse me. Think about this. Think about this, right? When Liv Morgan came back to WWE at the end of November, a couple of months ago, she said that the Judgment Day was back stronger and now more dangerous than ever before, and they were coming for all of the gold on Raw, which included the world heavyweight title currently being held by CM Punk, the women's world title currently being held by Stephanie Vaquer, the women's tag team titles currently being held by Rhea and Io Sky, the women, and also the world tag team titles currently being held by the Usos, and already the Judgment Day already have the men's Intercontinental title, because it's being held by Dirty Dom, who who has been too busy as of late dealing with the AAA Mega Championship, which he still holds, and he has a tall task ahead of him because he now has to deal with Elio del Vikingo and his new entourage, which includes Omos and that other dude. I cannot think of his name. Dorian something, something Dorian. I can't remember his name, but yeah. Dirty Dom has to deal with that, and I'm pretty sure that even with the rest of the Judgment Day, they pale in comparison to Omos. So we could be looking at a new AAA Mega Champion in the form of Elio del Vikingo, but even with that, right? Imagine what happens if Roxanne Perez at a later time gets a shot at the women's Intercontinental title. She could become the youngest Intercontinental champion of all time, and she's only like what, 23, 24 years old. Think about that. Think about that, guys. And she's already and some people believe that she's already in the prime of her career, which I don't doubt that. I honestly do not doubt that at all. And I think that would be a really good first singles championship for the Prodigy to bring home to the clubhouse, which would be the women's intercontinental title. But the question is, would she be able to pull double duty? Because let's think about this, right? Hypothetically speaking, let's say that Liv and Roxanne win the women's tag team titles from Rhea and Io. Let's say that if Roxanne Perez becomes a two-time tag team champion and excuse me, and brings to the Judgment Day the women's Intercontinental title, she would have to pull double duty. But the question is, would she be able to pull it off? Some people believe that yes, she would. Others believe that she needs to only focus on one championship, which would be the women's tag team titles. My opinion, I feel like that she would be more than able to pull off double duty. However, the only catch, here's the plot twist. Here is the plot twist. Some people believe that Liv Morgan is holding the Judgment Day back, because when the Judgment Day was, featured Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and Dirty Dom, they were all smothered in gold. They were all covered in gold. You had Finn and JD as the tag team champions. You had Priest as the world champion, Rhea Ripley as the world champion, and you had Dom as the NXT North American champion. That was in the past. Now, the only member of the Judgment Day that has gold is Dominic, and it's because he is starting to slowly but surely believe in himself and believe in the fans, which we could potentially see Dirty Dom turn babyface at some point. And we even also saw this past Monday on Raw, in the main event, we saw Finn Balor bring back his old NXT theme to Monday Night Raw, which was a clear sign that we could be seeing a babyface Finn Balor make his way back to Raw at a later time, which it could be this Monday, it could be at the Royal Rumble. The possibilities are out there, but I think Roxanne Perez is definitely capable. Who else did I say? Nikki Bella. So Nikki Bella would be interesting because Nikki Bella has not held a championship in what? In what, a decade now? Yeah. Yeah, I want to say in a decade. And the last championship she held was the Divas Championship, which she held for 307 days or something like that, making that the longest reign ever. And that will never be broken. When it comes to the WWE Divas Championship, that reign will never be broken. No matter what, no matter what people say, that reign will never be broken. Now, as far as the Raw Women's Championship, the longest reign is Bianca Belair holding on to the title for well over 416 days or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's 416. I want to take a look. Let's see. Let's see. I believe 419 days. Yep, 419 days, or now would be the WWE Women's Championship. Funny enough, Bianca Belair holds the record for 419 days, which that reign right now will never be broken. 100% will never be broken. So when you look at Nikki Bella, some could argue that some could argue, that Nikki Bella deserves one last championship run before she retires, because apparently there have been a lot of reports that said that Nikki Bella apparently signed a 2-year deal with WWE or something like that. Some sort of deal with WWE. I don't remember, but apparently Nikki Bella said that this run that she's having now will be her last. So who knows when she will retire, but before she does, what better way to retire than go after the women's Intercontinental title? But that brings us to Lyra Valkyria. Here's where things get very interesting, because Becky Lynch said to Lyra that she could have her rematch at SummerSlam, but if Lyra lost, then as long as Becky Lynch was champion, Lyra would never be able to challenge for the title again. Think about this. Maxine Dupree became champion in Madison Square Garden a couple months ago. This ties into a question that I'm pretty sure that all of us have been thinking about for a while, and the question is this: with Becky Lynch now being a 2-time champion, does the rule once again stay intact with Lyra Valkyria? Can Lyra Valkyria challenge for the title, or is she not able to because of the fact that Becky Lynch is champion once again? At this point, I don't think the clause is I think the clause is now null and void. I feel like because of the fact that with Becky Lynch now being a 2-time champion, this means that Lyra Valkyria, if she wanted to, can challenge for said women's Intercontinental title. So imagine what happens if Bayley wins the Royal Rumble for the second time in her career and goes after the women's world title. Lyra Valkyria can potentially carve a path to WrestleMania and challenge Becky for the women's Intercontinental title, which is possible but it all depends on Becky, right? Like it depends on whether or not she brings up the clause, that the no rematch clause, or not. It all just depends on her. Who else did I say? Who else did I say? I think I also said AJ Lee, right? Yes, I think I think I said AJ Lee. So think about this. AJ Lee is one of those women who who much like Nikki Bella and much like Natalia, carved a path for the women of today. They carved a path for women like Charlotte Flair, women like Alexa Bliss, women like Callie Armstrong, um, women like Bailey, Lyra Valkyria, even also women who don't even work with WWE and anymore. Women like Paige, women like Sasha Banks, who apparently, from what I've been seeing on social media, has been going down, has been on a downward spiral, which I don't know why. I think I think she needs to take a chill pill. Anyway, women like them carved the path for those women and then some. AJ Lee is one of those women who many people did not consider her to be a world champion caliber talent, but she proved all the doubters wrong, and she went on to become one of the greatest champions in women's wrestling today. Like 100%, she is a first ballot Hall of Famer, just like Nikki and Brie. The Bella Twins are already Hall of Famers. In fact, that right there is proof that Nikki Bella is one of the all-time greats. Some people might not see it that way because of the fact that she excuse me, because of the fact that one of her, I guess her stepfather or something like that. One of her family members was was working as part of talent relations, I guess. And because of that, Nikki Bella, apparently some people believe that because of that, Nikki Bella was able to get more opportunities than anyone else. But I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I think it just has to do with the fact that Nikki Bella had busted her ass, grinded in the ring, grinded on the mic, and proved to the world why she is one of the all-time greats. AJ Lee has done exactly that. She didn't hide behind a last name, and she didn't have to hide behind behind her man to get where she's at now. She grinded on the mic, she grinded in the ring, and she became one of the all-time greats in women's wrestling today, which she held the Divas Championship for well over 300 days. I think for like what, I think 295 days was how long she held the title for, making that, I believe, the second longest reign of all time. I think first was obviously Nikki Bella. But yeah, with WrestleMania looming, who knows? Who knows? But that brings us to the question of which two should not challenge. Crazy as it sounds, one of them, Lyra Valkyria. Reason being, simple. Her and Bailey are going after the women's tag team titles, and they want that opportunity more than anything else. They had a chance at last year's WrestleMania, but because of Becky Lynch, Bailey was sidelined with an injury and was put on the shelf for a few months. So yeah, I think they're trying to get back to WrestleMania to challenge for those tag team titles. Now, as far as Roxanne Perez goes, it's the same thing, right? Like tomorrow night at tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event, her and Liv are going to be challenging Rio for those tag team titles, which we could see Liv Morgan become a six-time, I think a six-time champion? I think it's a six-time champion. Let me take a look. I believe so. I believe she is a five-time champion. Four-time. Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry. She's a four-time tag team champion, which she could potentially go from 4 to 5, which would mean that she would have the most reigns as women's tag team champion of all time, like of all time, which is possible, but obviously we still have to wait until tomorrow night, and I don't think she's ready yet to become a singles champion, and the reason why I say this because while it is true that yes Roxanne Perez is a two-time NXT Women's Champion. Yes, she is an NXT Breakout Tournament winner, a former Iron Survivor winner, and yes, she may be a former NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. One thing that we know about Roxanne is that she's still new to the Raw roster. And I feel like the only way that she can really get a great head start going into this year in 2026 is if she becomes a two-time tag team champion teaming with Liv Morgan, which is possible, but again, we will have to wait until tomorrow night. That brings us to the final two, Nikki Bella and AJ Lee. Honestly, Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch, we saw that at Clash in Paris last September, if I remember correctly, last August. Sorry, and a lot of people considered that match to be one of the weakest matches on the card. So I feel like it would make sense for them to run it back, but have it take place at an even bigger stage than Clash in Paris, like potentially say the Royal Rumble, maybe, who knows. As far as AJ Lee goes, I think we could be looking at arguably one of the biggest threats to Becky Lynch's reign as Women's Intercontinental Champion. And if it came down to those two, I think it's pretty obvious that we would have to see AJ Lee take that challenge. In fact, apparently it's been penciled in. Rumors have it that it's been penciled in for Becky Lynch to defend the title against AJ Lee at WrestleMania, which honestly would be massive. That would be a massive ordeal for AJ Lee, because think about this. The last WrestleMania that AJ Lee was a part of, she teamed up with Paige to take on the Bella Twins at WrestleMania 31 in Santa Clara, California, which is about a 4-hour drive, 6-hour drive from where I live. Not bad. I mean that's a pretty obviously it's a pretty far drive, but the fact that was her last WrestleMania was truly heartbreaking, because she could have done a lot in WWE, but she chose to get away from the ring because of her due to having mental health issues, which is totally understandable. Obviously we get it. We all have them we all get those at some point, but the fact that AJ Lee hasn't had a one-on-one match in a long time is very crazy. And what better way to have a one-on-one match return than against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania? Possible? Absolutely. Bound to happen? We'll just have to wait and see. But let me know down in the comments below who you believe should challenge Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental title at a later time. I'm very curious of what you guys have to say. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.